Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Wind Down Fridays with Give a Sister a Hug, the Survival Edition. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and checking us out. We thank you all for all the support that y'all have been giving. Wind Down Fridays will Give a Sister a Hug. I'm your girl, author Erica. I have my fabulous co-host, author Kim, over with us. Today we have a special guest, Brigid. Brigid, as you all know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And every day this month, we're going to have a story. One survivor come on to tell their story. And today we have Brigid on. She's going to tell us her story. And Brigid, first, we want to say thank you for allowing us at Give a Sister a Hug to share your story on our platform. So I'm just going to go ahead on and give the floor to Brigid and let her tell her story.
Well, I thank you for asking me to do this. This is beneficial, I think, to me and to anyone else that watches it.
Right.
Uh,
Thank you.
my story started about 11 years ago when I first met this guy, and I left North Carolina and moved to Mississippi to be with him, not knowing that he had a baby mama that was getting ready to have another baby that was born a day before I moved there. Um, Not knowing that he was still with her, really. So I got down there and everything was real weird. And instead of leaving like I should have, I stayed in the situation. For the first probably 5 or 6 years, things were all right. They were great because he was still messing with the baby mamas and other women too. So that was a form of abuse to me as well. People don't realize that that's abuse, but when somebody has you so caught up in what they're doing all the time because you can't trust them, that's abuse
That
for sure.
is.
And so slowly, as he stopped messing with the baby mama as much and he moved in with me and we were living together, it started more verbal abuse. At first, it was all verbal. There wasn't any physical abuse at all, uh, along with the abuse I was receiving because he's cheating with other women, because he's still meeting other women. So, probably around 2016, he had been in jail for a couple of years and he got out, and my mother had came too to live with us. Um, and that's when it got really physical. Uh, that Christmas, he went to jail on Christmas Eve, which is my mother's birthday, and he like busted my eyes up and really hurt me badly that day. And of course, he got out of jail. I took him back again, like so many women do. But he started to get more violent towards my mother. So my mother left and begged me to go with her, but I wouldn't leave. I was sure I was in love. So I kept on. The abuse got worse and worse to the point that he wouldn't let me work, and he never worked. So he wouldn't allow me to work anymore. And it just so happened we lived in this abandoned apartment complex. And so everybody moved out of the apartment complex but us. We were still there, running power from somewhere, wouldn't let me work. So I'm stuck in that house like 24/7. And he's become extremely abusive at that time. I believe that that's when he really started using meth and was really quite addicted to it, because he would just act a fool for no reason or come in and accuse me of doing something I had never done in the whole relationship before. And the abuse at that point in time got really bad. Like, I was beaten with a baseball bat, a metal baseball bat, curtain rods.
What?
He Yeah, he knows I have asthma, and he would make me go sit in the hallway where there was no air or anything in the middle of the summertime. Um, if I left the house, he followed me and he threatened me. Like, if I didn't come back home, he would find me, and he would. He wasn't lying. If I didn't come back home and I went somewhere else, he would come find me and try to make it all right.
Mm-hmm.
My dumb ass would always go back until finally he had broken my ribs a couple of times. After breaking my ribs, I'd still have to go because we didn't have running water, and carry 5-gallon buckets of water with broken ribs to the house. He would make me go stand out at the gas station and beg for money so that we have money for food or marijuana, cigarettes, whatever it was that we needed or wanted at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty hard for somebody that's worked their entire life to deal with. Is now I'm standing out here begging, and everybody that sees me knows that I'm a hard worker. So yes, they give me money. So he's benefiting off of my character, really.
Right. Right.
So uh,
Oh, I'm listening. Right. Mm-hmm.
so eventually it got worse and worse and worse. And his mother had me and him at her house one day, and he hit me while she was in the other room. But when she came in the room, she knew what he had did, so she went and locked herself in the room and called the police. And I locked myself in the bathroom while she waited for the police. He of course tried to get them to say he didn't do anything, and he took off running. Cops came and picked me up, and that was the last. Well, that was the first time I left. Really, really left. I
Mm-hmm.
went to a shelter, and I stayed there for a month, and then I came back here home to my mom,
Mm-hmm.
which I'd got a lot of therapy in the shelter. Those places are really good for people. Then people might have a feeling about going somewhere like that, but you shouldn't, because those people were so kind and helped me deal with so many emotions that I had going on inside of me. It
And
kept me.
what state was that? Because we hear a lot of, well, we don't hear we don't hear the good, stories about, domestic violence shelters. So I'm glad that you said that you had a good experience. But what state? I just want to know what state that was in.
That was in Mississippi.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Surprise.
Yeah.
the great, but yeah, they had a great shelter there. But
Okay.
there's probably a lot of that going on down there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I left, came back home, got here, found a job, started working. Eventually, started calling again, said he wanted to come up here. I let him come up here. The first day he was here, he got into it with my dad's boyfriend, or my mom's boyfriend. And then we were living in a hotel again. Eventually, he got me fired from the job I had here. And we were trying to find a way to get a room every night.
Mm-hmm.
So, by some stroke of luck, I had left my ID at home with my mother, and the hotel room that he had got was in his name, which was something he never usually would have done. And he had went out that night to go find some of our stuff he had put up in the woods or some crazy shit. And when he came back, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was trying to wake me up, and he ended up beating me with a belt, and I wasn't awake. I was like in a state where I didn't know really what was going on until right before the cops came to the door. So when the
Mm-hmm.
cops came to the door, of course, I did like a lot of women do, and just, no, he didn't do anything. But the belt was broken, laying in the middle of the floor. And when I had called the police on him the week before, and the police pressed charges because I had such visible marks, and I had been drinking, so I couldn't press the charges myself. So he did it himself. So when they went to the hotel front desk, they got his name, they ran his name, and found out that I had pressed charges on him already. So when they saw the belt, they saw him, they just arrested him and took him. And that was literally the last day of our relationship, and probably the greatest day of my life,
Mm-hmm.
because I was stuck in hell. And it's been, next month will be 2 years. two
That you've been
years since
free.
since I've been free. Yes, ma'am. And I
Wow.
went from no job, living in an abandoned apartment, to I own my own car now. I am a cook. I make $16 an hour, which is a good pay
Yeah.
after not making but 10. I've grown in my experience, like in my career. I'm proud of myself.
Right. And you
I
should
got
be. You should be.
I got all my family with me, around me all the time. Me and my dad, who during all the abuse, I didn't have any contact with my father at all. Because obviously, you know what a daddy's going to be like. He's going to
Killing. Uh-huh.
want to.
Yeah.
That's what
He
he was
want
gonna
he
do.
want to kill him. Maybe want to lay hands on you too for dealing with him, but he want to kill him. Yes.
Oh no, he
Yes.
said you done been through enough beatings. You don't need to be. He said, but that
Yes.
motherfucker there.
Yes.
So what? I have a question. So, what was one of the worstest interaction y'all had? Like, what was one of the worstest fight that you can remember that you guys had in a relationship? And did it cause you to go to the hospital?
There were many times that I should have went to the hospital that I did not. But one of the times I can remember is in the kitchen. We had a table, and he was taking shit and slinging it under the table at me underneath there. He had already broken my ribs and made me get down underneath that table, but then he continued to throw things at me and hit me with shit underneath that table. And eventually I did get out of the house that day, and I did go to the hospital. Of course, my ribs were broken. There's nothing they can really do for broken ribs.
Right.
You just have to heal.
Hmm. Did you guys have any kids or anything together, or did you come with kids? Either one of you.
He has 5 children. And I mean, they were a part of our lives for a while, but once the abuse was so much, I mean, even he had better sense than to bring the children into it.
Right. So when did you tell your family that you was in this domestic violence relationship, and how did they react?
Well, I had told them some things before my mother moved to Mississippi,
Mhm.
but when my mom moved to Mississippi, she really could see that I was in this domestic violence relationship and was telling, the rest of the family about it. My dad just, anytime I said I wanted to leave, he was just like, okay, I'll send you the money or I'll send you a ticket.
Hmm.
But then I would back out. But for them, it was just, they didn't know where I was and what I was going through. I mean, they were scared for me.
Right, quite naturally. So how
Yeah.
did being in this relationship and going through this, and in those moments, what was you feeling at those times? Can you remember what was you feeling during that moment in that relationship?
Real despair and not knowing what to do. To really truly love someone and you've given them person all of you, and they've like trampled on that trust that you give a person when you give them that. And that just makes you feel despair and like, how could I have let myself get to this? And I mean, thank God I've always been a religious person,
Right,
because I would pray in those moments of real despair. I would pray, because otherwise I think I probably would have killed myself or let him kill me or something, because I just didn't have the strength. God gave me just that little bit I needed.
that
Hmm.
must see, as they say. So when you was going through this, and did you ever have the feeling that you will ever get out or you'll be here for the rest of your life? Did you ever feel that way?
I felt that I was stuck. And yeah, I thought it was going to go on for the rest of my life, or my life was going to end soon.
So at what moment did you realize that enough is enough? I need to get out of this relationship. Was it an incident or y'all just had a conversation? What was that at that moment where you said enough is enough? I need to get out of this situation.
When I was here in Winston-Salem, walking around trying to find money to live in a hotel room, but scared to bring him anywhere near my family. So that, I mean, scared to come here and get away from him because my family is here and he's going to come here and try to cause problems for them, which they were mad that I would even feel that way. But in the time, you feel like that. My
Yeah, at the
sister,
time you just don't know. Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
now,
And
oh,
and
that,
where is he now?
uh, as far as I know, he's in Mississippi. He
Okay.
served 6 months here for what he did to me. He
Hmm.
tried to contact me then. I gave him his personal belongings that I had, and that was the last time I saw him. He every now and again will send messages through Facebook and stuff, and that says he's in Charlotte. But I just don't let myself worry about where he is.
So
So
you don't look good. So you don't look over your shoulder.
Nah, I can't, because when he was here in Winston before he left, he would send me some weird, crazy text messages like, "Oh, I see you getting in the car with that guy." I'd be like, what the fuck?
But were
That's
you
just,
getting in the car with a different guy though?
yeah, I was getting in the car with like my mom's friend. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he did see me getting in the car with the guy, but you know, you can't just base that off, oh, she's messing with him just because she got in the car with him.
Right.
Hmm. Right.
Right.
And that's how they think, that,
Yeah.
oh, she'd have moved on, she this,
Yeah.
and, and now they want to come around. So as of now,
To stop contacting me was
Mhm.
I've got a best friend. It's not sexual, it's nothing like that. Me and him hang around all the time. We help each other out. I told him that that's my man now. And he don't like you, so that's my
Yeah.
man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
right. So I heard you say you was going to therapy in the shelter. Are you continuing therapy now? Do you experience any PTSD or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I suffer from PTSD too. And like last week, my best friend hit a pot up against the wall in the kid dish pit at work, and I jumped, and he was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Like that's the after effects of that shit.
Yeah. It's a trigger. Mm-hmm.
My nephew had a baseball bat when I first came back home and was beating it in there, and I was like, I can't. And I mean, I've grown since then. He can have his baseball bat now. He's just a little boy, but there's still little things that trigger me.
Yeah.
As far as therapy, COVID kind of screwed everything up.
Mm-hmm.
I did end up going into the hospital. I went into the psych ward just because I was drinking so much, trying to
Oh,
drown away the problem, the feelings, just trying to get them to go away.
Right.
And I eventually went in the hospital and I asked them for psychiatric help, so it wasn't like they
Yeah.
made me do anything. They put me with a therapist at first, but like I said, COVID just screwed everything up. You couldn't go into an office. Then
Mm-hmm.
my mom and I had psychiatrists and therapists through the telephone. They stopped calling,
Oh
stopped
wow.
sending. So
Oh.
I basically have a really good primary care physician right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm very vocal about what I've been through, which I think is a very good thing for therapy. I don't
Yes.
have, like I told y'all at the start of this, I don't have any problem talking about any aspect of it. I
And
mean,
that's good because we need more women that aren't afraid to
right.
tell their story because it's so much on the hush and it's so much crazy thoughts
They're
that
embarrassed of what happened to them, and there's no reason for them to be embarrassed of what happened to them. They made a bad choice, but this guy is the one that really did the thing that should be embarrassing.
right.
He's the one who hurt you. You didn't hurt him. You tried to love that person.
Right. And that's what I don't understand. Why come men don't ever get embarrassed about what they did? Why do they think that it's just like, I'm just this man and this is what it's supposed to be?
Oh,
But we
I
the
did
ones that's
this.
like embarrassed.
Right. And he has all the excuses, and I did this because of this, and I was going through so much. And like, you really think that makes it okay to hurt someone like that?
right.
No, it
Right.
doesn't. And yes,
Right.
it's taken me a couple of years to get to that point where I could really feel that in my heart and not say it. I
And
mean,
see, and that's good. Because it's good that you're taking time to like get to know yourself again. So you're able to go out here and, find, someone if because some people don't like to be in a relationship, but if you find someone that will
ever
love
will.
you.
I enjoy my freedom and my time by myself so much now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, I have friends that are my friends, but I haven't had a sexual relationship since I left that man
Mm-hmm.
because there was some aspects to it that were sexual abuse where he would be like, you have to have sex with me because you're my woman every night, whether I wanted to or not. Beat
Right.
my ass and want me to have sex with him. And I'm like, in what world do you live in? I mean, who does that? But
Right.
apparently,
Right.
so still some lasting effects. Maybe eventually I'll find somebody that I feel
Right.
comfortable in. But at this point, I'm just
So
happy doing me.
right. So
Right.
do you look back at the situation? Is there anything that you feel like you would have changed in that moment?
if I could have changed something in a moment, it would have been realizing when I first went down there that this was a real fucked up situation that I had gotten myself into.
How did you
Like,
meet him?
he grew up with my cousins and my aunt that lives down there in Mississippi.
Oh, okay. And y'all
So
just kind of connected from that angle.
right. I'd been down there to visit a couple of times, and we started talking, and so we're just really talking on the phone. You don't know what somebody got going on by talking on the telephone, video chat, none of that. All of that, they could be telling you so many lies in those moments, and you're steady getting connected.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Uh,
And you building that bond. You know, it
right.
becomes a bond that you building when you talk and communicate on the phone. So tell us about the shelter, because like Kim said, we hear so many horror stories about the shelter. Tell us the good things that you had experienced in that shelter, and how did that shelter help you?
This place was like a home. I mean, it was a nice place. You had nice rooms. You had other people that were going through similar things to talk to. We did some group therapies. We do stuff like on Friday nights, sit down and watch movies together and discuss stuff, and just real feel good kind of situations. Now, I did have my therapist that I would go in and talk to her, and those would be the times where I'd be crying and going through some shit. But
Right.
for the most part, they just made you feel really welcome. I mean, we had to do chores around there, like
Right.
because my rooms were broken, I didn't have to do real heavy chores. I would go in and clean the kitchen and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it just made you feel like you were coming back to life.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
That I
And
mean,
that's good. And that's good to have, because we are in talks of trying to figure out better ways to provide shelters for the survivors, because that's every I mean, pretty much everybody we didn't talk to that has dealt with a shelter situation hasn't been a good one. So it's like, what can we do?
I'm very blessed because I dealt with a homeless shelter
Uh-huh.
several years before the abuse. At that homeless shelter and this domestic violence shelter, we're like fucking being at home. I mean, I hear a lot of stories about people with shelters too, and I was scared the first time I went.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But when then they made me feel like I was at home,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and they need to have more shelters like that.
And
Exactly. They
see,
do.
and that's what that's exactly what we're trying to do, is try to have more, facilities, or, homes that we're able to take people in, just because, everybody is dealing with something differently. And
Right.
it's a lot of these places are full, and, and you hear a lot of horror stories. So,
Yes.
we're just trying to be the opposite of that.
Right. And that's really the key to it. It was like just really friendly, heartwarming people that were in there. Now I was lucky, a couple of the women that were in the shelter, domestic violence shelter, I had worked with their sister. And so they took a little extra care towards me. We talked a little bit more than, but everybody that was there was comfortable.
Hmm.
And after being so in fear and so scared for so long, to just be able to come in and sit down and just be comfortable and know nothing is fixing to happen to you right now.
Right.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I didn't care about their rules because their rules were really in place to help us. So some people have problem with all the rules and stuff. No, I didn't. And
Right.
after being in such a bad situation, you need a little structure.
Facts.
You need someone to show you what that is again.
Hmm.
So you
Yep.
what love should feel like again.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
How people should treat you.
Yep. Hmm. Okay.
They
I
were
like
very
that. They were very, I like that. That's good to know, because like I said, we've heard all and it ain't been good. So it's good to know that there's somebody that's actually had a good experience.
yes. Yes.
What
That's
you
good.
say? We didn't hear you. What you say?
I said that it was a very good experience for me. I've heard a lot of horror stories. I had to sit one of his sisters told me about a shelter that she stayed in, and she was like, there were rats, nasty, and people would steal your shit. And
Yes,
so
that's
I've
what
heard some horror stories. She dropped me off at the homeless shelter when I went to the homeless shelter. And when I called her, I was like, what you talking about? These people are worried about bed bugs and everything else. They checking your shit. And I mean, this woman was really like a mother type figure when I went there. And it was all religious based.
Mm-hmm.
So she like didn't take money from the government because she'd have to take her crosses off the wall and all of that stuff. So we would have church, and you really felt like you were in a family there. And she would let you stay there as long as you want. She had one guy been there for 2 years. Left
And
when he
see,
got
that's why it's taken us so long, because that's how we want it to be, because the government puts so many rules and regulations and stipulations in who you can and can't help. And my thing is that shouldn't matter. I should be able to help anybody the best way that I can without you telling me that I can't take, I always say the mother that has a son that's 15 years old. Like, she was like one of my first people, and they try to he can't stay here. He has to go to the homeless shelter for me. He's 15.
right. Well, see,
They
and
have.
this is another place in Mississippi. The homeless shelter that I stayed at, it's called the Winger House.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, she's been there for 25 years. She takes whole families.
mm-hmm,
If the whole family is in a bad situation, she will make sure that she makes up a room. She has 3 houses on the property,
mm-hmm,
and she has split up. One's for single women, one's for single men, and then the other is for families, which
mm-hmm.
might be a mother and her children, or it might be a mother and father and their children, but mostly it's a mother and her children that are there. And there's no stipulations on how old the children are or any of that. She just wants them to feel love and care, and like
Yep,
everything to be all right. And
yep,
here I'm gonna show you how to make it all right.
yep,
right.
yep.
I love her.
That's
I still talk to her to this day.
that's good.
That's
That's good.
that's good. That's important. You
That's
keep in
good.
contact. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So
Great.
do you have any words that you would like to share with any lady or man that's sitting now watching your story? Do you have anything that you have to that you want to share with them?
That it's hard to get out of the situation, but once you heal some, you ain't even got to heal all the way. You start to feel how good it is to be on the other side. You start to realize that what you were going through, you shouldn't even been going through. Not that it's any of your fault for going through it. You just needed some space to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always better on the other side. Even if you have problems, it's not those problems. You're not
Right,
being hurt. You can feel safe every day
right.
and loved, and you can give love to people who are deserving of it. Most people have family that really care, and when they're in that situation are really concerned and scared for them.
Mm-hmm.
uh, just to get out of it, it's going to be hard. It's going to feel hard. You feel like your heart is breaking, but in the end you'll be like, wow, I feel so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I
I
like
agree with
that.
that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything, sister?
No. I think she has done wonderful. I think, she told her story, and I think it's a great story that needs to be told. And she, as you could tell, she has definitely elevated
Yes.
from,
Very
it's
much.
been 2 years, but she's definitely elevated, and she can recognize that she has elevated. So that, I'm proud of you for that. So keep going, girl. Keep
Yes.
going.
Like, just keep your head up, and as we
Yeah.
all know, it's gonna come bumps in the road. It's gonna be many bumps in the road, but you gotta just keep going and pushing, because
Mm-hmm.
it
That's
is
it.
light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel dark, yeah, it's dark, but it is light at the end of the tunnel. So I want to say congratulations. Keep
Yes.
going, making strides. Don't settle for less. Just keep going, because it's endless now. And like you said, the happiness there, you free. And that's the biggest thing, just being free.
Yep.
I get to decide what I do every day.
Yep.
Somebody tell me if I want to lay on this couch, I can lay on the couch.
Yep.
Right. And you can lay there how long you want to,
Yep.
and
I'm lazy or I need to get up and do something and a woman doesn't do that. Man, forget that. I am me, what I do.
Yep.
right. And you don't have to worry about going stand on a corner to get money because now you have a job, which is awesome.
Exactly. A
Yep.
good job.
Yep.
I enjoy. I actually found a guy that I knew 20 years ago who owns the restaurant I work for now. And I mean, it's just enjoyable to get back into life.
And
Mhm.
it's
Ain't it a good feeling that you leave the dirt bag alone and then you see how the doors just start to open up for you and you
lining
just
up.
like, wait a minute.
It becomes so much brighter.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Darkness out.
Yes.
Yes. Most definitely.
So
This is
so we I want to say thank you, Brigid, from oh, he done knocked Brigid down. Taking over the show now. So we want to thank Bridget from sharing her story. And ladies,
Yes.
if you sat down watching the story, start thinking about that survivor plan, that safety plan. Make
Safety
sure
plan.
that safety plan is with someone that you trust. Don't tell
Mhm.
everybody that safety plan. Make sure the person who you do tell, that you can trust them, that they won't tell your safety plan. Even if you don't leave today, even if you leave tomorrow, even if you leave 2 years from now, just make sure you have a plan and someone that you know, that you trust deep down with that plan is
Right.
going to be there. And just know that the road is going to be a little tough, because the road is tough every day.
Right.
And just know that you're going to be fine at the end of the day.
Yep.
And before we leave, sister, give us a positive affirmation before we get out of here.
Oh Lord, she does this to me, and I'm supposed to be prepared, and I'm never prepared. A positive affirmation. I'm gonna go with the free. Be free. Be you. At the end of the day, you matter. You, not everybody around you. You need to take care of you. So just be free to be you.
Bridget, you have a positive affirmation?
I think she said it just perfect right there. Being free is very important. And I just want to thank y'all for letting me do this. It's beneficial to me as much as it may be beneficial to somebody else. It feels good to be able to tell the story.
Yes.
Yes, it
And
does.
mine is hope. Just have hope. As my shirt say, hope.
Hope.
So
Yep.
just have hope. So thanks for tuning in to Wind Down Fridays. This is Wind Down Fridays will give us a hug, the Survivor Story Edition. I'm your girl, Author Erica. I have my fabulous co-host, Author Kim, on with us. And Bridget, thank you for allowing us to share your story here and give us a
Yes.
hug. So have a
Yes.
nice day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.